Okay, almost there. There we go. Okay, so we are going to play. Oh, my, my, I'm going to play with my camera and hope that it works for me today. Okay, maybe not. We're going to play with this idea of the continuum of conceptualization, just thinking about something, having something in our minds, to direct experience. And so when we're thinking about a concept, we're thinking about the thing. And when we're in direct experience, we are in our bodies experiencing the thing. And and we want to try and like be able to come into that direct experience of being without a whole lot of reification of needing to tell the story or needing to make sense of it. That's it. We don't need to make sense of it. And there's nothing to win, nothing to earn except for awareness. So we're just going to kind of beam back and forth between really thinking about a thing and then experiencing the thing. So let's just start. Let's start with space. So let's start with the concept of the vertical dimension of up and downness. So thinking about up and downness, like the erect Homo sapien walking along the earth in his verticality or her verticality, and thinking about that, like thinking about all the associations that you might have with verticality or standing up straight, anything where that is coming into your conception. What is this up and downness? What is this up and downness in our minds? How do we conceive of the vertical dimension up and down? And even as I describe it, I'm doing it. Like for me to play with the ideas of space, I almost always have to bring them into sensation, into my body. So for this moment, let's just turn the gears and feel into our bodies, feeling up and down. And we can think of up and down as being the heavens and the earth, the gravitational pull of the earth connecting us downward, feeling all the lower parts of our body, our soles of our feet, whatever we're seated on, or if we're laying down, whatever we're laying on. And let's try closing our eyes for that, just feeling into what is going up and what is coming down in experience. Maybe you can feel the rise and fall of your breath. Our bodies understand gravity through our vestibular system and through our water and fascia and our bones as we relate to it. Like we can feel where down is. I can hold my arm out and just know where's down. I can play with the rise away from the earth, this rebound in my tissues as I breathe and go up. And then I can also come back down. So feeling into it. And let's do the same thing with the side, with the horizontal dimension. So feeling into the sideness, or sorry, let's rewind. Thinking into side, thinking, conceiving of the horizon line, conceiving of the horizontal dimension, conceiving of it, thinking about that sideness, and imagining maybe a picture in your mind of a line that's going along the horizon. Or we could even think about the surface of water. Surface of water will always tell us if it's not agitated, where the horizon line is. What is that horizon line? If we think of a level, can show us exactly, is this even? Is this straight along? Is this perfectly even in the horizon line and the sideness? So thinking about that and then feeling into it, shifting into the feeling of sideness. How I can feel that I have a shoulder on either side. Like, I don't know why it came to that. I could feel my clothes on my shoulders. I can feel my hips on either side. I can feel my feet are spread wide and I can feel my knees on the two sides of my body. So I can feel the sideness. I can imagine midline, take the concept of midline, and I can feel into my sides. So bringing these ideas in, like, is there a midline in my body? There's no line in my body that's actually a midline. It's just a concept. And all of my organs and shifty body are going to be organizing around that concept, around this concept of even alignment. So inviting us to feel into that. Back and forth between conception, sensing, feeling in our body, and thinking about it. And often it's going to be a dynamic swirl. This is a continuum of thinking about something and then participating in being it. Is there a place where you can take the thinking out and just be in the experience of sideness of your body? Or take out the thinking and just be in the experience of the up and downness? This idea of our central channel raising to the heavens and dropping down to the earth if we're vertical, or just whatever's reaching away from the planet and dropping back down. So feeling into that. And then let's take the front back just so that we include all things, the sagittal dimension, forwards and backwards, thinking into what's in front of you and thinking into what's behind you. I can think about my life. I can think about my future, what's in front of me. I can think about just what's going to happen in the day. Or I could just look at my couch and go, oh, or the computer, that's in front of me. Conceptualizing these things. What's in the front space? What's in the back space? There's a door behind me. I can think about the door. I can see the door. I can have an image of my door and know the door is there. That is a concept in my mind. Or I can experience the door by backing up and finding it, right? And what is the experience? The experience of the door is very different than thinking about the door. If I feel into this door, maybe it's your bed, maybe it's the air behind you, but coming into the experience of something without the planned predictive process of, I know what a door is, but when I come back and I'm touching the door and I'm feeling the door, it's a very different experience than me thinking about a door. Now the door is in my front space. Experiencing the way that the paint feels on the door, experiencing the smoothness and the little bumps, and then the ridges of the door. So that's like a direct experience of door. So we have these different ways of being with our mind, thinking about something, or being in our body, experiencing the thing. Here I have this ball underneath me, right? I can see the ball. I can think about it. I have a ball underneath me that's full of air. I can also experience the temperature of the ball under my butt, which is a little chilly. I can feel the little ridges on the ball. I can feel the ball squish and the aliveness of the ball. I can push into it. Then when I start to relate to the ball, I have a very different experience of the ball. But then if I just stop and think about it, it might remind me of a beach ball or a soccer ball or the sun. So all of these sort of conceptual metaphors or direct experiences, like, oh, let me just relate to the actual ball. What happens when? Can I surprise myself in my experience of the ball? Probably a lot easier in movement, to surprise myself in the experience. Oh, I can just feel it. I can bounce lightly on it and experience this bouncy ball underneath me. Oh, and what happens in my body when I start to experience the ball? There's a little bit more freedom in my tissue. Ugh, I can feel the tension in my body that I might be holding on to. So let's just experience our tension. So tension in our body from an experiential level. Like, oh, I go, oh, I can feel it in my neck. If I think about the tension, I might say, oh, it's in my shoulders, or I can feel it in my arms as well. A little bit of tension in my arms. But for me to really experience that tension, I kind of need an extra thing to feel the experience, to be like, oh, if I touch it, it gives me this, I can triangulate around my experience. So hands-on are a great way to really land in our body, in our experience. What does the door feel like? What does the ball feel like? What does my tension in my body feel like? So let's just imagine the tension in your body. Let go of the idea of feeling the tension in your body and just imagining tension in your body. And then imagine that the tension in your body is just disappearing. And as you're imagining, like we could imagine that the tension in our body is just like being blown away by wind. Like we could imagine that we are just suddenly becoming like these air beings, and the tension in our body is just dispersing, letting it melt away. So when I create that imaginary idea, sometimes that can land in my tissue as well. I can feel into that lightness. And it becomes this dance between the idea of the thing and my actual experience of the thing. And as I give it my awareness, it starts to evolve, it starts to shift and change. So just coming into our experience, I'm bringing in movement. And notice when you start to go to story. So if we're telling the story of our life or the thing that happened to us or the what we're going to do later, that's all very much in our concept, in our head, right? Keep coming back to the fresh sensation of what's happening in your body right now. And let's add some breath sound to this. We're going to have a, a soft theta breath. And I want us to do this kind of jerking back and forth thing where every time a thought comes into your mind, you can just go, oh. So there's theta, and then oh, oh. It's like you catch yourself in the thinking and then go back to theta. If you can stay fresh in your body, great. But if you keep coming back to your head, just catch all those O's and notice them. So the O's become an experience, not just a thought. So letting yourself play with that. Theta breath, a soft, gentle hiss as soon as you notice thinking, oh, oh. Inhale whenever you need to. Take resting breaths whenever you need to. Oh. As soon as you start to reify the experience, to coalesce around the story of what's happening, give yourself a little oh and take it back. Oh, for me, it's every time I think I need to say something, oh, oh. We may be don't get so specific. If you're having the feeling experience and a little bit of thinking is happening, but you're not grabbing onto it, just stay in the hiss. But if you're starting to grab onto it, that's when you want to oh. So the thinking can be there. It can be happening in the periphery, but it's not taking over. As soon as it takes over, oh, oh. The thought might just be, am I doing this right? As long as you notice you can stay present in your experience, the thinking can be there. As soon as you feel like, oh, I've just popped into my head again, That's when we have an O. I'm inviting micro movement into my spine. When I kind of let this sinewy, snake-like movement in, it draws my attention in so I can stay in that experience a lot longer. And I'm not pulled out into the thinking too much. Oh, oh. As long as you're in the sensations of your body, you can stick with the theta. But if you start to notice that a big story is coming online, that's an O. Kind of like an advertisement that pops up when you're completely drawn into something, an experience, and then suddenly there's an ad. Oh, so we're going to change it slightly. Still going to go with the theta breath, but we're going to add an actual O sound. So as soon as you notice the thought coming in, instead of just an O popping out, let's go with a real vibrational O. So it's like, oh, and you can let that until it draws you back in. So that's the invitation that the O is going to bring you back, even if you popped out for a second. So theta breath and then O sound, resting breaths whenever you need them, just being in the experience of being. The O can open you up when you have an idea, and then let the O, the long extended O, draw you back in. Oh, oh. Allowing it just to drop into your experience of feeling the vibration of sound, feeling your experience of being a whole, complete body mind. When you find yourself caught up, oh, into letting the breath sounds land in your tissue, allowing micro movement to bubble inside of you, maybe coming online, bringing in micro movement that is an underlying support for the macro movement. And you don't have to go looking for the thought. If they're not coming up, great. You can stick with the theta. You can even play with the O's just for fun. allowing your body to go into a sort of micro motor babbling state of just figuring out what it is to be in a body as if this is the first time ever. And you're just learning how to move, right? So, this predictive processing, we let go of what we think we know and we come into the freshness of experience. If I'm thinking about my body and I have an image in my head of my body, that's a concept. If I'm feeling the experience of my body, that's the experience, right? Bringing the awareness into the actual experience. I find that movement really helps me stay in the experience of my body. It's an ongoing continuum of flow. And the thoughts can arise. I just don't want to click onto them, right? I have this really weird story that I'm going to tell you because that movement brought up a memory. So the movement brought up a memory and a concept. And it's a very weird story. The super of my building was a crackhead and very open about this. And he would talk about his experience of crack. And one day he said that he came home and it was snowing and he kept seeing the snowflakes and thinking that each snowflake was a little bag of crack and he was reaching for them. This is a long time ago. This is not, this isn't true to my life right now. And so think of that also as these concepts and thoughts, like these little things, these little wisps. It's not even real. It's just an idea in your head, right? So let yourself come back to, I grabbed that crack bag and it turned out to just be a snowflake or it was nothing. So letting yourself feel into the experience of being. It's my really weird story just to bring to the table to talk about concept, metaphor, and experience. And I'm going to add music. And we can just play with those ideas. The sounds to come in, to drop down. The ooh, again, to come in and to feel into that with a little more relationship to the outer. Maybe there will be overtones, which for me just bring me right into the sensation. So, and then noticing whenever we have an idea or a thought and we start to grab onto it, grabbing the little crack bag with an, oh, that was a change, right? Each of those is a little shift of attention. So we're going to use some ambient fields. This is album 1, song number 2. Just let the sound feed you. Play in your own play of awareness, becoming curious. What is happening in this physical body mind? If you keep thinking and thinking keeps coming up, look for where the thinking is. Where is it? Where does it exist? Where is the screen of your thinking? And as soon as you've noticed that, come back to embodied experience, feeling what it is. And if you need extra help, touch. Here's my arm. Here's my hand. Here's my neck. Here's my head. You can even start to feel like, where is the experience happening? Who is having the experience? Does your feeling of body look like a picture in your head? Or does it feel like energetic flows? You can be laying down in relative stillness or moving, however it feels interesting. If you want to come back to a little bit more formal um, way of dealing with this, go back and forth again between the feeling of up and down and the idea of the vertical dimension, the concept of up and down. You can test it. How do you know what up is? How do you know what down is? How do I know my right from my left? Is it a thought in my head or an experience in my body? Is the door an image in my head or something that I can feel, a metaphor, something to move through or around or with? Is my concept of myself up in my head, or is it in my experience in my body? Some kind of dance between those places? Who am I in this moving body? If I move differently, do I still feel like me? If I think new thoughts, is it me thinking those thoughts? What is the constant that's been with me since I was born and will be with me till I die? What part of me is constant? And maybe beyond my death, beyond my birth. What is the constant thing? This awareness of being? And where is that located? Is it a thought? Is it a sensation? And where are all these experiences in me? Where are all the memories in my body? Where is the outer world in my experience? Can I embody my experience of what's outside of me? Can I physically be with the experience? Or is it all happening inside of me? Anytime you think you come to an answer, just say, oh, now I get it. Where is my understanding? How fresh can the moment be in my embodied experience? Is it a stale, old experience? Oh, I've had this experience before. Or is it something fresh and new every minute? How much of my experience is coming in? Like if I touch the carpet, if I feel the chair, the wood of the chair, if I feel the air on my skin, if I bring the world in through my physical skin senses or my touch senses, or just in through my eyes, in through my ears, where is this vibration of sound happening? How big is it? Concepts, right? That's just a concept thinking about sound. There isn't an answer to that. If I had different ears, I would hear differently. If I had a different body, I would feel differently. I would move differently. How do I land with the most gentle kindness in this body without objectifying it, but landing in the experience of being in my awareness? In the freshness of each moment. Surrendering the old crusty past, which still lives in my cells in many levels. Making room for new experiences, for new freshness. I try to subtly turn the music down. Just going to take a few more minutes to land in my embodied experience here on the ground. My body understands gravity. Gravity says, I belong right here, right now, in this moment, in this experience. Letting go of some of the baggage of my predictive processing of how I experience the world and actually experiencing what is going on right now. A lot of times humans like to make stories around people, around things, make sense of life through stories. And that's really helpful often. But that's just a story. That's one story. There's many, many, many possible stories. And if we lock ourselves into those concepts, sometimes we miss what's really happening. Coming into the buzzing, vibrant aliveness of your own body with curiosity and developing subtlety to feel it more. Whatever you're running from, if it's there, it's going to catch you up. So you might as well just be with it, let it be there. I went into my meditation this morning feeling a little bit uncomfortable about something and thinking, oh, I'm going to meditate and not think about that. But that's the wrong move. The move is I'm going to meditate and just be with my feeling about that. That's what's happening. That's the reality. I don't need to change it. I can be with my discomfort. I can be with my discomfort and my yuckiness and be like, well, that's it. That's okay. I can handle that's okay. I'm here with it. And then I went into my non-dual tantra course with Michael Taft, and exactly the things I had been thinking about were what he talked about in the course. I was like, oh, this is very interesting. This creation of being in the world process that we're all participating in, creation and discovery of being together on the planet right now. So if you came in, bravo. Thanks for joining. And the Monday nights are going to be gone for a while because I'm doing